Defender instructional video guide. So today we're going to run through the controls of your vehicle, show you how she drives, and talk a bit about maintenance. So without further ado, we'll start with a short drive. We'll go through the starting procedure to begin with. So here's your choke. On a normal day like today, it's a bit overcast but quite warm. You won't really need any choke at all. So choke all the way in, ignition on, couple of pedal presses, feather the throttle, and she'll fire right up. Now once it is running, you are going to need a little bit of choke just to keep that idle going, because otherwise it will cut out. Okay, so that's that. So then on a really cold day, frosty morning, you are probably going to want a bit of choke, about half choke. Again, same procedure, ignition on, couple of pedal presses, and just, nurse the throttle as the engine comes into life. It's very old school technology and it needs a bit of, fiddling to get it going. So anyway, let's get on with the drive. There we go. So as you can see, I've pulled the choke out probably quarter way, and that's a nice idle now. And again, while the engine's cold, you may just need to nurse it a little bit as you're going down the road. Right, and we're off. So at the moment, your truck's covered 330 miles. It's been extensively test driven, every nut bolt washer's been checked. Drives really great, so this is one of the final drives it's going to do. Now in terms of letting the vehicle and the engine bed in, you're going to want to give it about another 1,000 miles of gentle driving, as I'm doing now. Especially with the gearbox, just ease it through the gears, don't force it. Again, it's very, very robust and rudimentary. Don't over rev the engine for too long, don't drive it too hard, just let that engine bed in, because it is, for all intents and purposes, a new motor and it needs care. Okay, so coming down through the gears, same story, nice and gently into the gear. Engine's coming up to temperature now. We've got 60 degrees at the moment. That's centigrade, not Fahrenheit. Pulling nicely up this hill in third. And again, this is kind of the limit of the rev range that you want to be doing for the first 1,000 miles. By taking care and looking after the engine for this first 1,000 miles, it will really help to extend the life of the engine. Brakes are sharp, really sharp. Clutch is nice and smooth. Handles well into the corner. So again, as I pull away now, I'll show you the kind of rev range that you want to be using for the first 1,000 miles or so. Just nice, gentle acceleration. Okay, so while we're out on the road, I'll show you a few controls. You've got your heater control here, so push that all the way up to the top. That closes your ram air, so you don't get a draft coming through. Pull it all the way down to the bottom, that's your top speed, and then up one click for your low speed. So you've got your 2 air vents here for your heaters, and you've also got 2 at the bottom of your air conditioning unit. Now your heating system is separate to your air conditioning, so this will work completely independently from your cold air conditioning. You've got your fog light here, which only engages when you've got your low beam on, which we'll talk through when we get back. Windscreen wash control, push it in for a squirt to the front, then need a little bit of adjustment, as you can see. Pull it down once for one wipe, push it up for your first speed, push it up again for your top speed. Got your rear wash wipe here, hold that in for a squirt to the rear screen, and then twist it, and I'll put the wiper on, twist it off again, it will turn it off. That does have a park feature, so wherever you turn it off, it will park back to its resting position. 12-volt power point. You've also got your clock here, and the way you adjust the time is pushing in this central button and twisting it left or right. Air vent controls here. Pull it out to the right, push it all the way to the bottom, or however far you want it to go. Click it into the left to lock it in place, and then when you come to close it, pull it all the way temperature, you should expect to see anywhere between 70 and 80. It'll average out at about 75. Now on a particularly hot day in traffic, or if you're really giving it some welly, you can expect to see the temperature to go up to about 90 degrees, but you shouldn't see it go any more than that. Anything towards sort of 100, 110, you're going to want to pull over and let it cool down. But that will only happen in an extreme circumstance if there's been some sort of failure. Drive, Nick. I think you're going to enjoy this. So we're back at base after a good solid drive. Now the engine's nice and hot. I'll take you through the hot starting procedure. Now typically, again, you won't want any clutch at all, so make sure that's pushed all the way in. Flick the ignition on, and if it's been parked up for a while, a couple of pedal presses. But if you've just gone into the shop to pick something up and you've come back out, it will fire straight to life like so. But like I say, if it's been sat for a little while, you may want a couple of pedal presses, just like when we did the cold start. Okay, that's that. So what we're going to do is run through some more controls. We'll go around the outside of the vehicle, talk about some seating, we'll do the engine bay, and then finish up. Okay, so on this side of the dash, we'll start with your light controls. You've got your side lights here, low beam, main beam, flash, indicate left, indicate right, and your horn. Now with your low beam engaged, that lever that we spoke about on the drive, the fog light, operates the fog light like so. You have the warning light here. Now without the low beam on, the fog light won't work, so you have to have your low beam engaged. Down here you've got three more controls. Heated rear windscreen, which will only work with the ignition on. Hazard warning lights. And your interior roof lights. Down here your air conditioning controls, so on the left here you've got fan speed. There we go, and this one is temperature. All cold air, but varying degrees of cold. These two controls here control the direction and temperature for your main heater system. So you've got hot at the bottom, cold at the top. And then this lever controls direction. So you've got heat to the floor, bit of both, heat to the windscreen. Okay, doors. Again, robust, rudimentary. Areas you want to keep heavily greased, just so that they continue to operate as they should. Catch, so some clear spray grease, get that in there every couple of weeks. Up in this channel here you've got your door check strap, which shuts the door, stops the door from closing on its own. Along the bottom here you've got a rubber door seal. Now you'll want to get some wax, cavity wax or grease just above that door seal there, because water can tend to build up a little bit under there, and also along the bottom of the door frame. And you've also got a hole here. Now what you can do is pop this cap out with a small lever bar or a small screwdriver. Just be careful you don't damage the paint. And you can inject some cavity wax into that cavity of the door there. So cavity wax with a straw, good sprays up in there. Same story on the other door. Now when you come to lock the door, there's two ways of doing it. You can use the key. Make sure that when you close your door you always keep your hand firmly on the handle, give it a good slam. New door seals, very stiff. Again, robust mechanics. Oh, well actually this door is very good, but typically if you try and close it like a modern car, you'll get that bounce there, which isn't unusual. So just make sure that when you close it, you give it a good slam like so. Here's the key for your side entry doors and your load area door. Locks like so. Again, this is an area you want to keep greased, so what you can do is just use the key to prop that cover back there and get some grease on a straw, spray it inside. And you can also lock the door by holding in this button, pushing that pin down like so, and slam. Just make sure you don't leave the keys inside when you do that. Okay, next up we'll run through the seat. Now again, be careful when you close the door, because again these seat belts can tend to sit over the latch like so. So something you can do is hook it underneath that recliner handle like so, to keep it out of the way, nice and safe. So you've got two functions on this seat. Just lift this cover up. You've got this bar at the front here which allows you to slide the seat back and forward on its rails. Again, keep these rails nice and greased. Grease on a straw from a spray can. Lift this handle and that allows you to tilt the seat back and forward. Now to remove the seat base, pop it up like so until these pins pop out. Two more pins at the back, which go into two holes at the seat back, which we'll run through in a second. Unplug the heated seat wiring. I'll just place that up there out of the way, nice and safe. In this storage tray here, you've got your battery, some auxiliary fuses for things like your heated seats and your floor lights, and you've also got your wheel brace down in there. Okay, so when you come to put the seat back in, reattach your heated seat wiring. It can only plug in one way. These two pins here go into two holes at the seat back. So wiggle those into place like so. You'll know when it's in position because these pins at the front will line up, one either side. Give it a good push and it locks into place. Okay, so this is the key for your load area door. So at the moment she's open like so. Again, make sure you give this a good slam when you close it. Turn the key anti-clockwise 90 degrees and it's locked. Turn it clockwise again to open it. Right, inside you've got your lock and fold seats. Now this is a little bit of a convoluted process to set them up, so I'll talk you through that. Just before we do, you've got your switch here for your work light. Ta-da! Okay, so I won't get writing because I've got muddy boots on. So you undo this strap like so, pull this leg out. This bar locks the seat in place as well as these down here, so just make sure that's tapped in like so. So you can see normally what I'll do is when we put it away I'll show you this, but that bar will be in this recess here, so you'll need to sort of tap that, pull it down, and as you lower the seat you've got two latches that it goes into, one on the floor here, so pull that leg out. It's a small lever at the back which you push, clip that into place so that's secured to the floor. Then you've got this catch here, push that down and that locks in like so. Hold that lever back, tilt the seat back up, and then it's ready to use. Now when you come to put it away it's a little bit more tricky. So what you want to do is remove this floor catch first, so push the lever over, lift the leg and tuck it out of the way. Same with that one, push that in, lift it out. Then you need to lift the seat from the front and back all the way up, lock it into place like so. Now you can see that it's locked into its recesses, so it's not going to go anywhere. Push that leg back in, pull this strap through that handle nice and tight, back round just so it can't rattle. Alright, onto your fuel cap. Here's the key for your fuel cap. Pop the key in, turn it 180 degrees anti-clockwise, turn the cap in the same direction, pull it off. Keep this rubber seal well greased because it can tend to get dry and then it's very stiff on the filler neck. Key has to remain in place. Fill her up with fuel, pop it back in, make sure it's not locked. Twist it clockwise and then turn the key clockwise. Just make sure that's in place properly. And pull it out. There we go. Now what you'll tend to find, because this is a venting fuel cap, you are going to get a strong smell of fuel if you fill it all the way up in the filler neck. That's because it breathes through this cap. This is a breathing fuel cap, so you'll always get a smell of fuel from this, unfortunately. Okay, moving on to the bonnet. Bonnet release is down here. Pop that towards you like so, and it'll pop the bonnet. Now when you come to open the bonnet, you've got a safety catch here on the right hand side. Push that to the right like so that it clears the catch. More areas to keep greased. This male pin here and this female. Lock the bonnet in like so. Now this scissor has a safety device, so if you catch it, it's not going to land on your head. So make sure when you lift the bonnet that locks in like so. So here you've got your rebuilt 3.5 V8 engine, all aluminium, predominantly at least. Going to want to service this engine every 6,000 miles or a year. All the specifications and data for your servicing intervals is in your Haynes manual and your owner's manual. We'll start with some fill points. So you've got your engine oil fill point here. So twist that cap anti-clockwise, fill her up, use the dipstick to check your reading. So pull the dipstick out, give it a good wipe, and you can see you've got two indicators here, low and high. Anywhere in between there is acceptable, but as it starts to edge towards the low, just give it a bit of a top up. So pop the stick back in all the way to the bottom, pull it out, and you can see it's right on the high mark, which is perfect. Brake fluid, .4 brake fluid, common in 99% of all cars on the road. Available in any parts store. This is a visual inspection. You can check the colour of the fluid, and it wants to be a clear amber. The fill level on this reservoir is on the outside of the casing. Just get this cap back on here. There we go. So you've got a min and a max level here. Again, anywhere in between there is acceptable, but try and keep it up at this seam line here. Clutch fluid. The clutch is also a hydraulic system, uses the same fluid as your brakes, .4 brake fluid. Now the fill level on here is a small nib just on the front of the casing there, and the level wants to be just in line with the top of that nib. Now while we're around this side, we'll cover another key on your bunch, which is this little one here, and it's for your aerial. So if your aerial's all the way in and you can't get your fingers on it to pull it out, use that little key, put it in vertically and tip it to the side so it's on an angle, and then just pop the aerial out like so. Again, you're going to want to keep this greased. This is a manual aerial. Make sure you pull it all the way out. Get a rag, spray some WD-40 onto the rag and give it a good wipe like so, and that just prevents it from becoming stiff so that you can't open or close it. Power steering fluid reservoir. Spin this cap off. This is ATF Dextron 2. Now you've got a small dust shield in there just to stop any crap getting inside and blocking the lines. So you might want to give that a rinse out every service. Now to check the level, pop it in like so, a bit like the engine oil dipstick, pull it out, give it a wipe. This coincidentally needs a bit of a top up, so I'll go and get some fluid and then I'll show you how to top it up and check the level. Alright, so I've got some fluid, so we'll pop the cap out. Take your fluid. This is in a Ribena bottle, but any container will do. Pop the fluid in nice and gently like so. So we're going to fill it just to the top of that netting there. Let it sink down. We're going to keep topping it up until the fluid stops draining away. There we go. So back in, no need to twist it, lift it out, and that's just above the high mark there, but that's fine because when it drives it will suck some more fluid into the system. So you may want to check it whenever you top this, or you will want to check it rather whenever you top this up. Check it after the drive that you've topped it up, and it may just want another little top up. Give that a wipe, pop it back in. Expansion tank for your cooling system. Unlike a header tank where this has a fluid level, this is purely to allow the coolant to expand from the system when it gets hot, so you'll only ever see some residual fluid in here. So this doesn't denote the level of the cooling system. Never undo this when it's hot, because it will release hot steam and water everywhere. So only ever open this when it's cold. You can visually inspect this to see if there's a little bit of coolant in it, and also to check the condition of it for antifreeze level. Reservoir for your front and rear screen wash systems. So again, you can see this needs a bit of a top up, very self-explanatory. Get your screen wash and water, pop it in. Alright, that's it for the engine bay. So when you come to close the bonnet, push that scissor lift in, pull that catch out to the right, make sure it clears that hole. Always push the bonnet on both sides, never in the center, because over time this will dent because it's only very thin aluminium. So palms or forearms either side of the bonnet, like so, and that's it.